Morning. I like to call the meeting to order. Pledge allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Brzezinski, Director of Public Works for the City of Bristol. I don't know if you want to go through a formal roll call for everybody. Go around the table. Throughout the table.
Sheila O'Malley, Shelton.
Paul Benovich, Town Engineer, Watertown.
Jolene Podgorski, Town of Watertown Engineering.
Yeah, I think it's everyone we have in the room, and this is on the line. I see Dave Stewart.
Yeah, I'm here.
Phil Straker.
Here.
You're with Town Cheshire, and then Matthew Abbott is our COG coordinator. At Tonaruski.
Yep, here from Southbury.
And then Brian Asteriak.
Yeah, I'm here.
That's Brian.
Okay, the public comment. Anybody here from the general public to make a comment or statement? If not, approval of December 3rd, 2025 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
The second? All in favor? Aye. The, transportation planning, SS4A, safety action plan, Rich?
So, hi, Rich is not available today, so I'll be taking over this little discussion of our safety action plan and where we're at with it, how we've progressed and how are we getting to, I guess, wrap things up. So just to briefly, provide a overview of the plan for anyone new. This is our Safe Streets for All, Vision Zero Safety Action Plan. We received federal dollars to do a SS4A regional safety action plan, at which we look at all the dangerous and high crash, serious and fatal injury corridors throughout our region. So it's region wide, all 19 municipalities. We completed a internal quantitative and spatial analysis. And we also reached out to all 19 of your municipalities to do interviews and surveys with municipal officials. So those are all complete. They're all being incorporated into the plan. A draft plan does exist. You can see the first page, cover up there on the slides. There were a couple of, I guess, key products from this analysis that I want to just go over really briefly at this meeting. The first was a list of high crash corridors in our region, as well as a high injury network. So the high crash corridors, the top 20 really bad corridors in our region, and the high injury network is just all the little segments throughout our region that we're really seeing a lot of issues. At the end of this kind of overview, there is a recommended motion. We'll get to that later. Next slide. Thank you. All right, so really quickly, I just want to go over how exactly we created this list of corridors, and it's a little small. There's a web map available, and it will be available in the draft report. So we'll look at that at the end. But just really quickly, so the process that went into making this list was essentially mapping out every single serious and fatal crash in our region from January 2022 to December 2024. Each of those crashes was weighted differently depending on the severity of the crash. So serious crashes were weighted lower than fatal crashes. And we essentially analyze each of these segments and corridors in our region, and based on those weights, identify those most severe segments. And as you can see, largely concentrated around the city of Waterbury, Bristol, but there's also Route 6 in Woodbury and Bristol, and Route 8 in Shelton. It's spread throughout the region. What this actually means in this mapping and this analysis is, it informs our strategy as we try to reach Vision Zero. Overall, this plan, we're going to recommend the board to adopt the plan today, and then the board will adopt it in February. The grant closes out in May. What we're actually going to be doing with the plan and the analysis is identifying project gaps at municipal projects happening along these corridors. We're going to be analyzing these corridors, seeing more, key small areas where we can, I guess, promote interventions. We're going to be doing more RSAs, more RSSs, or roadway safety studies, which is a little more than a roadway safety audit. We're going to be incorporating safety projects for all these corridors into our Metropolitan Transportation Plan and our later transportation improvement programs. And of course, part of that is working with CONDOT as they develop their 5-year capital plan. And we try to address the issues that we identified on state routes in this plan through planning at CONDOT. Also, advocacy and legislation. We know that a lot of our towns and the state DOT don't have the tools they need to address the safety issues in a lot of these corridors. So we'll be working with our legislators and things like that to, advance better policy at the state level. And Kevin, if you could just click on that dashboard link, I just really want to briefly show one of the tools that our mapping data and technology team developed for this analysis that we did. So, right here, we'll briefly touch on this, but we have a full dashboard looking at all of the crashes in our region, serious and fatal, since 2022. Just to provide, municipal staff, members of the public, with a lot of the information that we internally are looking at. And then Kevin, if you can scroll down. And this is that top crash corridor map, but just as a web map. So you can see more specifically where these corridors are, who owns them, is it a state route, local route mix? And Kevin, if you click on a segment, you could see, the total number of serious and fatal crashes, and then the severity score based on the weights. We have further analysis at the internal level, but it's just to say these resources are publicly available for your further viewing. We have tons of resources internally if you just want to reach out for further analysis. Kevin, if you can go back to the slides. Next slide. And very briefly, I just wanted to show the actual high injury network that we developed. So this is essentially all of the different crashes in our region from 2022 to 2024. I only wanted to show this to emphasize that we are looking at crashes in every single municipality. We're looking at all the problem areas, not just those top 20 corridors in those select municipalities. It's just to say this analysis that we conducted is seriously going to underlie all of our planning efforts going forward. And, we really are looking at all 19 municipalities. Next slide, Kevin. And, this is just our recommended motion. We recommend the adoption of the full plan to the, NVCOG policy board moving forward.
And if I may, the draft report right now is available on your website.
Yes.
Is there a motion to a recommended motion to come before the committee?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Now, I would say this slightly off, I won't say off topic, but now there was a round of awards for Vision Zero. This came out, like Bristol, we submitted our own application and ours was, we didn't, obtain the grant. But the most shocking
That's the
thing,
first time I've ever heard that. Right,
well,
right, because you get.
Oh,
I mean, okay, that's the first, yeah, all right, what is the first?
for everything.
Yeah, I guess so.
I was shocked looking at the list. It seemed like it was all shoreline communities, honestly, all, wealthy small towns.
I have a question for you, Red. My question is I guess it's all relative, right? So you have more drivers and more people in the Waterbury area, right? How does that get versus, Route 6 or how do you? How are you weighing it? Because of course, more drivers means more accidents, right?
Yeah, so the weight was solely based on the number and severity of serious and fatal crashes.
Okay.
And the weighting was done in terms of severity. So, for example, a fatal crash was weighted about 14 times higher than a serious crash
Okay.
in terms of how we scored them. We do acknowledge that it rationally speaking, if there's a higher capacity of people traveling through a certain area at a higher speed, there are going to be more fatalities. Same if there's more pedestrians and cyclists in that area. So that's kind of just how we identify those top 20, just
Okay.
in terms of, strictly using federal guidelines on just identifying those top areas. That being said, we did conduct municipal level analyses in the plan as well. So there will be municipal annexes, for every single municipality, all 19.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just to say that, you know, we do definitely acknowledge that just the higher concentration of traffic means the higher
Yeah, I just
concentration of
would think
injuries.
it's hard to.
It's hard.
A hard,
Absolutely.
difficult balance, but thank you.
Yeah,
And certainly if it's a problem, don't worry about it, but can you pull up the top 20 list?
I think I can go over it. Let's see. So,
If it's a problem, like.
If you send me a link on Teams, I can probably just pull it up.
okay, oh, I have it here, yeah. I'm gonna send it to Kevin and we'll see how this looks in here. Kevin. All right, Kevin, I'll send it to you on Teams.
All right. It is a little table, hold on,
Yeah, it's the top 20 and,
I just gonna dump it in a random Excel file,
okay.
so it's a little easier. to Share, and then go.
And Phil, I think you have your hand up?
No, that's enough.
Oh, okay. It did look like a hand.
Kevin, can you just zoom in a little bit?
He's trying.
If you
This, okay, I think you're good.
There you go. So,
I guess that's the list we don't want to make.
Zoom in.
yeah, it's
300.
What?
Thanks for having him pull that up, all right.
Okay.
I guess I'll clarify, I forget which state statute is the number, but this sort of data for planning purposes cannot be used, cannot be held against you in a sort of like legal getting. This is purely for a study purpose, and this is obviously for us and all municipalities to look at the data and then create put improvements, not like a sort of measure. So I know we have it written in the actual report somewhere.
Good.
and if there's any clear or any additional questions on how we came to these, I guess, lists and analyses, it's more clearly spelled out in the report itself, but I'm also glad to answer any questions on how we came to this conclusion and, you know, what this actually means for planning, what it doesn't mean. You know, we don't want to misconstrue anything, or like Kevin said, this is strictly for planning purposes and not meant to necessarily say anything.
Now, when you say for planning purposes, I assume, like probably the primary value of it is, once again, when if the community or the state or the region goes for a grant.
Absolutely.
Right. Any other questions or comments on a,
Yeah, it's Jim Stewart from Naugatuck. Can you go back to that slide there or the list?
Yeah.
Because I don't see Naugatuck anywhere, but when you showed the picture of the crashes, seemed like we had a bunch.
So, Evan, if you go back to the corridors. So that's, okay.
There, yep.
Kevin, can you go full screen? So yeah, this is the, if I can explain, this is the high injury network in terms of, there's a difference between, I guess, roadway segments and roadway corridors. So, example of a corridor is East Main Street in Waterbury. We acknowledge that East Main Street is incredibly long, so it's gonna, obviously have a lot of crashes, which is why we also developed this more, I guess, nuanced, high injury network, where we're looking at every single small roadway segment. So we could see where, in Naugatuck, those problem areas are. Or we could see in Prospect or Beacon Falls or Oxford where those problem areas are. So it's just to say that top 20 list of very long corridors is just meant to guide us as we do kind of higher level planning, but as we do municipal level planning and analyses and further analyses at our municipalities' requests or, what we decide to do internally, this level of analysis also exists and is available at anyone's request.
Okay.
So what I'm getting at it, this is Roy from Waterbury, so I'm getting out of this document would be more useful in developing individual safety improvement projects, whereas the other one is a big goal.
Yes, the higher level corridors is more so bigger picture, while this, like you said, is more focused safety improvement projects that we can use for, I guess, more nuance or focused analyses.
So Jim, in your case, what this means is you're doing a great job. You need to talk to the mayor about a raise.
I'll have you call him, okay?
Especially with that roundabout in now.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Any other questions or concerns?
Yeah, serious question. Jim, have you had any accidents at that roundabout yet?
Well, we had one where a police officer got hit
Whoa.
in his car, and then I almost had an accident because I was watching the guys what they were doing and not where I was going, but I made it through alive. But other than that, it's been flawless. People have started to comment on Facebook that they didn't like the idea, but now it's okay. So no, it's very successful. The mayor wants another one. So
Yeah, and the one at 188 with Seymour and
That's great.
Derby, yeah, it's great.
I've said it a long time.
yeah, I mean it takes traffic like you wouldn't believe, Go there
Right.
rush hour when it used to back up and it's just churning cars through it like crazy. So it's really working well. I imagine when it's in a few more months when everyone's got a hang of it and all the
Right.
last things are done, it'll really be great. There's really been no issues at all. I'd highly
What's the-
recommend doing them in the future.
Jim, what's the last phase?
Excuse me?
You mentioned the last phase.
Oh, we've got plantings to do and get the lighting up and running and stuff. And that's the last bit we'll do in the spring.
Okay. Great. Any comments, questions? If not, protect project? Mark?
Hey, good morning. Sorry I'm not in the office today, but I'm working mostly from remote nowadays. But it's good to see everybody. Just one comment regarding the roundabout. The roundabouts, really the intent is to reduce the severity of any crashes that may occur because of the slow speeds going around a roundabout. If a crash does occur, it's usually at 15 miles an hour, just very minor damage to vehicles. And so it really reduces the potential for any severe crashes. Again, as Anthony was talking about with the safety action plan, the goal is really to reduce fatalities and serious injury crashes. So that's sort of the federal priority. Within your towns locally, you may have a number of locations that have a lot of minor crashes. That's not going to be really handled under the Safe Streets for All. So, but again, we're trying to reduce that severity incidence. So with that, I'll just go through the Protect project real quickly. As you know, this is a project that we're working with in cooperation with Capital Region, Northwest Hills, and Northeast. So we're looking at a much larger area than just Naugatuck Valley. The intent is to look at local infrastructure and the vulnerability to severe flooding. We're getting close to getting started. We were hoping to get started sometime in January, but these things sort of take time. But we have selected the prime consultant. It's ICF International, I think is their full name. We've finalized the scope of work and agreed with them on, the work they will be doing. The fee negotiations are underway. They should be sending us their fee proposal by the end of this week. We've already created internally our independent cost estimates, so that's sort of what triggers the comparison, what we think the project should cost and what the consultant comes up with. We've drafted an agreement, and that's been reviewed by our attorneys, and we've submitted it to ICF, and they've looked at it and provided us with some suggested edits that we are looking at, and we are really expecting to get this started in this month. We're real close. And again, what we're going to be asking each of our towns to is to participate on this to help us identify what they see as local infrastructure. Again, this is we're not looking at any state roads or state assets. It's really looking at your facilities and your bridges and culverts and which ones are more vulnerable. Because what we want to do with this project is create a priority list of high priority locations that you can then apply for grant funding to improve. And we're trying to come up with a toolkit to give you ideas on what would be the best solution to fixing or reducing the vulnerability of these structures. Again, the severe rains that we had back in August, is a prime example of what we want to try to become more resilient to. A lot of local roads were washed out through that, and so this project will help identify those potential locations now, so then we can sort of do some improvements and enhancements prior to any kind of flooding like that occurring again. So we'll be in touch as this thing gets started, because again, we're going to be reaching out to each of our towns and trying to set up meetings so we can again identify what you think are the more critical infrastructure that we should be looking at. So but just wanted to give you a quick update that it's about ready to get being, and it's going to be about an 18 to 20 month project. So we'll be working on this for next year and a half or so, and happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mark? If not, Mark, thanks for the information, and certainly Bristol will report over a couple areas that we haven't already.
Yeah, like I said, we'll let you all know when we actually execute the agreement and because we'll have a kickoff meeting, and because of the area that we're dealing with, the northern half of, or what we're calling the non-coastal area of Connecticut, it's a fairly large area. It's over half the state. So any meetings we do hold are going to be pretty much virtual. So you'll be getting notices of these meetings as we get them set up and hold them.
Thank you.
All right, thanks.
Just moving on, Metropolitan Transportation Plan.
Yes, thank you. So my name is Joanna Rogalski. I work as the Senior Transportation Planner here at NVCOG. The Metropolitan Transportation Plans for the for the Central Naugatuck Valley MPO and the Greater Bridgeport Valley MPO are in the process of being updated as required every 4 years by federal regulation. Just to give you a little refresher, MTPs are long-range transportation planning documents, and they look 20 years into the future. And this update is going to cover 2027 through 2055. Now, the MTP reflects the agency's goal to improve mobility for all residents using transportation networks that are safe and reliable across all modes of transportation. That includes public transit, pedestrian, bike, freight, just to give you an example. So the three main topics that are going to be in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, we're going to be identifying transportation deficiencies and using a lot of the work that we've done in other plans to do that, just as you just saw with the safety action plan. We're going to be recommending improvements. And the other part of it is we're advancing priority projects. And the thing with these priority projects, they have to be consistent with the amount of funding, which may be reasonably expected between 2027 and 2055. And the last thing is, and it considers these topics based on national performance measures, which include safety, reliability, congestion reduction, air quality conformity, and reduced project delays. Now, the Metropolitan Transportation Plan for the CNV MPO, it's divided into three phases. First of all, data collection. Second is drafting the document, and 3 is public comment and adoption by February 2027. So as I mentioned, we are currently in the middle of phase 1, identifying projects to advance and include in the plan. Now, we are reviewing the previous MTP for projects to carry over and considering projects from the TIP and the state TIP and other regional plans like the forthcoming regional safety action plan. Now, for this MTB, we aim to reduce the overall project lists, as many of in the past have been carried over, and even though they were completed. So we're trying to make sure it's accurately reflecting what is being used and what is being worked on. And we need the input of our member communities to help us identify these priority projects. Over the next few weeks, we'll be contacting your town CEOs and public works departments, hopefully yourselves, and sharing our preliminary project lists. And now we'd like you to review these lists with the towns to make sure we've included your priority projects. Now, since we are coordinating these project lists to align with the TIP 27 through 30, we'll need to finalize these lists by May 2026. So that's pretty much what we're at with the Metropolitan Transportation Plan. Please look out for emails and phone calls from our staff to help us understand your priority projects. And
You will send, I'm sorry, through
Yes.
Ray.
yes,
You will send the list to the TTAC members, because
Yes,
sometimes it
absolutely.
gets
Mhm.
to the wrong person and,
absolutely. You're talking about everyone who's on this email list.
yes,
Got it.
thank you.
Anyone else have any questions at this point?
Not for myself, thanks for the information.
Great, thank you for your time.
Just moving on, Safe Streets to School Bikes and Pedestrian Safety Skill Program. Oh,
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to discuss the Active Transportation Micro Grant Award. This started in 2023. In 2023, the sum of $500,000 was available. Last year, it was up to $750,000. This year being year 3, there's another $750,000 available for this micro grant program, which funds the purchase of bikes, locks, helmets, light racks, lights, racks, repair kits, training materials. Each applicant is entitled to not more than $5,000 per award. Eligible entities include municipalities, their departments, nonprofits, and the like. Applications for this quarter are due on the 13th of March. In addition, I would like to state that I would like you to look inwards, and your schools can apply. Thanks to Bristol and Waterbury, who applied for all their schools, we were able to get more than half of the funds available for this program for the state last year, came to our region, which we're very happy about. Parks and recs, libraries, now we can fund bicycle racks. The year before it was not allowed, now we can fund bicycle racks. So Waterbury applied for Parks and Recs, to fund bicycle racks to get installed in their parks, the library. And so I want us to go out this year and also apply for this grant. I have 11 municipalities that have benefited from it. I have another 2 at the moment. I have 6 that have not applied. None of their nonprofits. So I've started reaching out to the schools. I will make available the guidelines for this year as well as the forms to members of TTAC. So I would want us to have a good showing this year. Thank you. At this point, I want to take any questions or comments.
Any questions or comments? No, thank you very much. I'll definitely make a park department and make sure our board of ed is aware of it. The next one, Safe Routes to School Bikes and Pedestrian Safety Skill Program.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Today happens to be the winter walk to school day. And it also happens to be Transportation Equity Day. The state presently has a bike and safety skills program, which is being run by the Active Transportation Unit, the Safe Routes to School program. And it is a free training being given out in our schools. We are happy that there was a pilot program which started in one of the schools here in Waterbury, and the city of Waterbury has graciously decided to extend it to all physical ed teachers in the city, as well as students who are between the 3rd and 6th grades. It's free. So it's complementary or works in tandem with the Active Transportation Microgrant program, because it's not enough to just get all these bikes out there and now start seeing high number of crashes. The kids need to understand how to ride safely. So a curriculum has been designed on how they approach intersections, how they check their bikes. And it did work in that school. It's happening in Waterbury, March the 6th, if I'm correct, March 6th. So that'll be the first rollout for it throughout the state. I want to encourage our municipalities to also apply for this. After this, it's going statewide, and this is something that I believe can provide that foundational knowledge to both. There's a train the trainer program for the PE teachers, as well as for the students in elementary schools across the state. So I want us to participate in this and ensure that our kids know how to ride safely. Thank you.
Thanks for the information. I have a question, and certainly if you don't have it, NVCOG doesn't have to answer it now, but one thing that would be helpful to us is if you can issue a survey to all NVCOG, communities, not to really put you to work, but do it so you and just click on it, because otherwise, if I have to write one out, when I'm on the other end, I don't necessarily, but we have had a lot of pushback because of the snow. And to me, it's a legitimate issue, especially with like CT Transit, where congratulations, we actually did get somebody to do the sidewalks, but now at the bus stop, you gotta jump, the pole border, with snow, a lot of issues like that. So I can tell you in Bristol, we have a city ordinance, you're required to do, the sidewalks. I literally in the process of changing the city ordinance to say like in bus stop areas and bus shelter areas, that includes like all the way, to the curb. But what do other communities, do? Because do they actively go out and shovel out, bus stops, and they, either for CT Transit, or is there a mechanism to prioritize, the Board of Ed bus stops? Because I tell you in Bristol, there is we have strong connections to the Board of Ed, but there's a complete disconnection to both Board of Ed bus stops and CT Transit. Our answer is, and we have a very defined policy, that people are responsible to clear the sidewalks, and property owners are responsible, for the bus shelters, in front of them. But especially in this storm, I had a lot of people calling me, for the Board of Ed bus stop at the corner, you gotta get out here and they, clean it. I can't handle it. And the answer is, according to ordinance, you gotta clear, the sidewalk. It is complaint driven. I don't have, if I have a complaint, we're gonna go out and, we'll bill you accordingly. But I would be
But
interested.
you have residents clearing transit stops and bus stops for
We have
schools?
residents clearing the sidewalk, and that's their only, responsibility.
Yeah, I
As
guess.
part of that, they're supposed to clear, the handicap, ramp, at their house. And and surprisingly, they do in general do it. I can tell you, when they don't do it, and people call and complain, those initial complaints are addressed by our police department. Our police department, they don't like it, but they will go out, they will make contact, and I can tell you, because I get, something from, PD every day. We probably, this is citywide, and we have, I think we have like 234 miles of, or, like 212 miles of sidewalk. Probably only 12 referrals have come to our so far. And of the 12, I would say a good 75% of them, once they get contacted by PD to clear their sidewalks, they do. Now with that said, there's, a lot of sidewalks in Bristol that, that haven't been cleared. It's just that we haven't received, complaints on them, it's a matter of policy. I will never proactively go, like shovel a sidewalk on a residential, property.
Right.
We've definitely got flack on that. If you look at our, social media, website, we, certainly that's probably one of the bigger bone of contentions. I mean, once again, on an individual basis, I'm not unsympathetic, but, that is the policy. But I am curious what other towns do.
So we can reach out to our towns, so we can put a survey together. I briefly remember, I think we did this in the past, so I have to look back. We might have this information somewhere, but I'd have to look. But so we can navigate the information that we have, and or we can get a survey together to and see what other towns are doing.
Because I do think that pedestrian, transportation gets much more challenging, obviously in the winter time. Any other questions?
Yeah, Ray, just one quick thing. Is the issue more not providing a good connection from, let's say, a bus stop or a bus shelter to where the bus will pull over to pick up people? Is that sort of the bigger concern?
It's, specifically that the bus stops aren't cleared, like literally there's a pile of snow, even when we do, even when residents, fill their commitment of clearing the sidewalk. If someone's going down a CT transit bus.
Yep.
You can wait at on the sidewalk, but to get to the bus, there's a big, snowbank.
Right,
Now,
so that becomes the issue, is like, and because the bus stops are typically signed, but if you can't get there, that's where, I think there's it becomes the issue. And a lot of times, the bus stops are sort of located in business areas. So it's like, okay, is the business owner or property owner of that business aware that they need to create a path, from the sidewalk to the road, so people who are taking the bus can, gain access to the bus?
Yeah, this is Roy. That's really cut and dry. The sidewalks gotta be closed. Where we experience a lot of pushback is the people who say, I've cleared the sidewalk to the curb. There's a big pile in the road. I'm not responsible for the road. I'm
Yeah,
not
right.
doing it.
Yeah,
And that could be a huge pile. And in the past, we have not had a good answer to that. Except send the town or city forces out to clear the road, which is problematic on the state road. They want nothing to do with sidewalks.
Okay, thank you. Nothing else, lunch and learns, Kate?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to share a few educational opportunities that we have for our TTAC members and others who are interested. In January, we held a lunch and learn here in person, and it was hybrid, so you could join online on the state local bridge program. I just want to let you know that the recording of that is on our YouTube page. So if you missed it or you want to rewatch it, you can look at the NVCOG YouTube page. We also have our roundabout lunch and learn from the fall that is also on that YouTube page. So just a nice plug for that page. There's a lot of great resources. If you miss meetings, you can watch the recordings as well. And then coming up in March, we're excited to offer another lunch and learn. This one will be virtual only. It's going to be on the Connecticut Roadway Safety Management System and will be presented by Dr. Kai Wang. who has received his PhD from UConn in 2016 from the Transportation and Urban Engineering Department. And then he joined the Connecticut Transportation Safety Research Center and Connecticut Transportation Institute shortly thereafter. We're excited to have him present on the CTR SMS. For those who don't know what that is, it's the state's platform for roadway safety data integration, analysis, and decision support. And it is implemented through a 6-step roadway safety management process that introduces the highway safety manual to support data-driven safety decision-making. So this is a tool that municipalities can use. It integrates multiple data sources, mostly crash record, roadway inventory, traffic volumes, and location referencing into one single, consistent, and accessible system. So this is a really neat opportunity to learn how to use this program. And we will be having this lunch and learn virtually. So hopefully you can bring your lunch and log in at noon on March 11th. There is a QR code on the screen to register, and then there is a flyer on the table. Please take that with you if you'd like and share it with your colleagues. And we look forward to seeing you then. Thank you.
Thanks for that information. That is good to know about the YouTube, page. I will look that up, especially on the state local, bridge program. Any other questions or comments? Just the one comment I would say, and it just clicked with me. Honestly, I read it a while ago. I certainly, because of my occupation, I know a lot of transportation engineers. They're extremely offended by the title of the book. But if you ever get a chance to read Killed by a Transportation Engineer, and honestly, like a lot of transportation engineers I talk to, they're like, they'll never read the book because of the title. But to me, you should, the book should be read. A lot of interesting things. I have a couple, young people in my office. I also said that it shouldn't be the only transportation book you read. You should, read a couple and before you read that one. But I thought it had a lot of good information in it. And if NVCOG was ever to start a library, include that in the library source.
Very funny enough, Rick actually just brought that up yesterday, and we were talking about it. I know the author also went to UConn.
Yeah, that's why I thought of
and maybe that's an opportunity for a book club or something, or you read it and discuss. But we were also talking about that literally just yesterday.
You should, like I said, it's very interesting.
Is it available on Amazon, right? Or-
Yeah, I think I purchased a copy. I think I got it.
Was the title Killed by a Transportation?
I think it's called like traffic
engineer.
Yeah.
I think it should be, if you're being killed by a traffic planner.
Well, you can write that one.
I'm not killed by an engineer, how about that?
But honestly, I thought it was a very insightful book. Once again, it shouldn't be the only transportation, but whatever reason.
I'm intrigued.
Is it technical or is it little?
It's there's a technical component to it.
Okay, interesting.
Make the motion that God purchase a few that should.
I would,
Second.
you should, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Any other questions, comments? If not, environmental planning, USEDA disaster supplemental grant program.
I actually have one more slide. I didn't want to put all the information on one slide, so I just have a quick mention of a program coming up in May. So you will probably hear about this again at the next TTAC meeting. I just wanted to get this on your calendar. We're very thankful to Watertown for hosting this training on the ground about RSAs. We will do an actual RSA process with the T2 Center on May 28th. So we are now offering RSAs as a tool through our transportation division. And we are hopeful that we could work with more municipalities to do RSAs. And then by attending this training, we can kind of get everyone up to speed about what an RSA is, what the process is, what the end results are. So just throwing it out there, May 28th, hopefully you can join us in Watertown and we'll go through this training together. Thank you.
environmental planning. USEDA, disaster supplemental grant program.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So just a sort of an announcement that we're made aware of this funding through the Economic Development Agency for a little over just under $1.5 billion nationwide, available through the fiscal year 2025 disaster supplemental grant program. And this is in response to emergency declarations from 2023 and 2024. So Hartford County is the only county that's not eligible. So I'm sorry, Ray, you're gonna have to sit this one out. But the rest of our municipalities are eligible due to the storm in August of 2024. This funding can be used for a lot of things, but we sort of saw that it's eligible or projects that are disaster mitigation projects, flood mitigation projects are eligible. I think this fills a hole that was left when a lot of the FEMA funding disappeared. So a lot of those same projects can be eligible for this. We sent out notices to all of our CEOs this past week, from Drew Backlick, and identified some projects that we found in hazard mitigation plans and other planning processes that have been done in the region, and try to identify some of the projects that could be eligible. So we're available to help with municipal applications. We're also interested if there's an appetite for a regional application for maybe bundling several projects or doing some kind of a study regionally to identify future projects. But we're interested to hear whatever ideas you guys have, and like I said, we're here to help with municipal applications if you're interested.
Through the chair. One of the questions I have, one of the concerns I have, been trying to get a hold of the FEMA severe repetitive loss properties and repetitive loss properties over a year and a half now. And I've not been successful in actually getting on the list or getting authorization. Apparently there's a lot of staff changes up there and I don't know what's going on. I don't know if there's any assistance COG can give us, or if you have a shortcut or something. I just think it would be very helpful as part of these disaster mitigation grants if we can at least identify where the lost claims are coming from. It's a little frustrating dealing with the feds.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, send me an email and we'll try to find a contact that we can actually talk to.
Thank you.
Now, we have that list in Bristol, but it's a couple years old. And it seemed at the time when we got it, it was almost like giving it to us, like, we'll give it to you, but we don't acknowledge it because it was an insurance thing and they're very apprehensive about giving out the list. But I do agree with Roy. You would think it would be very helpful for us to plan,
Yeah, they guard it very, very tightly. It's like classified information.
Yeah, it's for us, it came across like it wasn't just getting the right person. They just out of a policy, they didn't seem to be willing to give it up, Tim.
Yeah, we could look into that. There's some fact sheets on the table, if anybody's interested.
Any other questions or comments? If not, Regional Waste Authority update?
Just a really quick update. We haven't really talked about this in a few months, but we are moving ahead with forming a regional waste authority. We still have funding left from the DEEP grant that we received 2 years ago. And with that funding, we are drafting legal documents. So everything from bylaws to MOUs that we'll have with the towns, joint municipal ordinance as well that towns will have to enact to become a member. So our attorneys are all working on all that right now. We have last week posted a job posting for a municipal or a regional solid waste and recycling manager. So we envision this person in this role to really oversee the formation of the regional waste authority and sort of kick it off. So we'd really appreciate if you could send it to any of your professional contacts that you have. We're trying to really get it out there as widely as possible. And And, you know, once we make some actionable progress on these things, we're gonna plan to restart the regular waste committee meetings that we've been holding over the summer. So likely once we have these things drafted, we'll start monthly meetings once again. So, you know, probably in March, I would guess.
And not to get into the weeds, so for communities that have like other relationships, like the RFRC communities, how does that intertwine?
So we sort of envision it as, you know, there's nothing stopping you from being a part of both. You know, we've always seen our regional waste authority as having a menu of options, many of which maybe they do not offer. So, you know, every community will have a different relationship with the regional waste authority here, I'm sure. And I think that'll evolve over time as we, you know, start getting people on similar contract schedules and things like that. So, you know, I think that's something we'll have to talk to them about as well. You know, what they're comfortable in their members being involved with, but you know, we don't see them as, you know, being mutually exclusive.
You know, once again, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I believe from a single stream recycling, there's like, you know, like we go to Murphy Road, you know, Hereford. Then there's another facility down, isn't there one like in Shelton, and that's pretty much it?
I know there is one in Shelton. I'm not sure about the landscape. Christine is not here today. She's the waste expert on our staff. But you know, we really want, you know, we want to be able to explore, you know, regional facilities as well. You know, if you guys all had control over a regional facility, you might get, you know, better service or, you know, sort of better pricing. So that's all going to be part of what we're looking at.
Chair, we take on household hazardous waste, is that a part of it or continue the program as it is?
We've discussed sort of rolling that into the regional waste authority. So, you know, if that's the only thing that a town takes advantage of in the regional waste authority, I think that would be okay as well. But yeah, we do envision, you know, the staff for the regional waste authority taking over that program and overseeing that.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments? Not, mapping data and technology, tree canopy assessment?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Danny Thomas. I'm a GIS analyst here at the Naugatuck+Valley Council of Governments, as well as I'm also a Connecticut certified forester and an ISA certified arborist. About 2.5 years ago, this board was informed of a tree canopy assessment to be performed for the region. While it has been taking a bit longer than initially anticipated, I'm happy to announce today that we have received the spatial data for the NVCOG Regional Tree Canopy Assessment from the University of Vermont Spatial Analysis Lab. This data was created using 2023 satellite imagery and LiDAR. From this data, we can determine tree canopy coverage throughout the region, including height and crown spread of individual trees. You can see an example of this data right here on the screen. You can see in the top left corner is actually the Waterbury Mall. Below it is what I believe is a cemetery, and you can see some of the individual trees outlined there, and then as well as a small forest over to the right. Increased canopy coverage is associated with better air quality and health, as well as lower temperatures and energy costs. Using this data and the upcoming reports, which we'll be working on this month, we hope to inform planting efforts for individual municipalities and increase tree canopy coverage within the region. You will be hearing more about this project in the coming months. I kindly ask that you reach out to your town's tree wardens to inform them of this project and our upcoming outreach, which you will be hearing about very, very soon.
Any questions, comments? What did you say? You're a certified arborist?
By the International Society of Arboriculture, but not in the state of Connecticut. It's something I did previously, and I've kept up my certification, but Connecticut requires their own certification. But I am a Connecticut licensed forester as well.
Thanks. Any questions, comments? Not regional event, invitations?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. In connection to the tree canopy assessment, we're actually gonna be hosting a lunch and learn on March 25th. We're hoping to have all tree wardens attend, and then it's open to any other municipal staff who's interested. It's gonna be a hybrid event, and there'll be 25 in-person spots who can get a free lunch if you come in person. And in at that event, basically the MDT team is going to dive a little bit deeper into the data, show show attendees how they can use the data that we receive from this project. And then we're gonna do a little workshop to get your input on what would be most useful coming out of this assessment. So we really would appreciate your attendance and hope you can attend so we can get as much good information from you and also share. Yeah. So, and I should mention that we do have approval to do continuing education credits for the Connecticut Forest Practitioner. And then we're waiting to hear back about the International Society of Arboriculture and the Connecticut Arborists. So we hopefully will get approval on those as well. So attending will be a benefit in multiple ways.
Yeah, through you, Ray, I just, Mr. Chairman, I just think that it's difficult for municipalities to get certified tree wardens, so I think that's always been an issue, like who's gonna do the job, who's getting certified, so if, easier access to that. To be able to have a tree warden for your municipality instead of sharing or begging or, trading, I don't know.
President.
Yeah. Were you were quiet last, I was surprised. Did I give the president of the Connecticut Tree Warden Association?
Yeah, I'm still currently president.
I didn't know that.
Glad to help you. If you talk to me about tree warden credits and advertising throughout that community. Tree wardens just launched a new listserv in conjunction with the Yukon Technology Transfer Center. So there's a couple of new programs, but if anybody has any questions about tree warden, I'll be happy to talk to you. And we are talking about launching an initiative, doing a shortened dog and pony show throughout the COG, through the COGs, throughout the state too, so.
Great.
Stay tuned,
Amazing.
but yeah, Sheila, I'd be happy to help you out.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
We
Thanks.
know people.
I think.
Yeah,
right?
Ray, I apologize for being quiet. I must have been sick that day.
Yeah. What happened?
Now, I would say, and I guess I say this for, NVCOG and certainly, I am the new Bristol's tree warden and I think it's, consistent throughout, like certainly. I think it's a very good program, they tell you that, Connecticut had some of the first, state statues, associated with it, protect the trees. But hopefully everybody realizes the biggest pushback we get isn't to like save trees.
Yeah, it's cut them down.
All I'm recommending is kind of, cut down, that's
Right.
really the friction point. I think the tree wardens, myself included, say no, because everybody wants healthy trees, cut down. That's actually the biggest,
Yes.
pushback. And so the whole law is written to this, to stop trees, to healthy trees to get cut down. Certainly, that's the biggest complaint from, from residents, that we don't cut down enough trees. My comment was on arborists, because even though being, I did go through the certification program. There's times when you get into arguments with people to cut trees, and it's so obvious. I'm like, we'll hire arborists, for $200, we'll get an arborist to say the tree, is healthy. Sometimes that resolves it, sometimes it doesn't. But if and honestly, there's liability reasons even from NVCOG, but if NVCOG ever had an arborist that could provide that service, that would be a benefit to, to probably most municipalities. Once again, we wouldn't, abuse it, we only use it like a, as an opportunity just to get like a second opinion.
So if you wanna go to the tree ward in the school, we know people.
Good to know, good to know. I'll be happy to talk more with you after the meeting.
Any questions, comments? If not, miscellaneous items, any things that come before the committee?
I have one thing I wanna bring up, we have been, working here at NVCOG on updating or getting a new, version of the on-call engineering list. For those who do not know, this is a list of, consultants we have that we refresh about every 3 years. And this is a work that we typically use, for Watson for third-party reviews. Also, it's a list that we as a COG can, contract out for any other work. And also, there's a section there that municipalities can also use the on-call list as a pre-qualified list to do any work. So we just had our, submission deadline last Friday. We got 23 submissions. And we need to go through the process of selecting who is going to be on the on-call list. So I'm asking the TTAC board if there's I'm looking for 4 people to help us review the list, select the applications, and ultimately select who will be on the ultimate final on-call list, which will then be forwarded to the board for their approval. I think there'll be 2 meetings for this. There'll be one for reviewing the selection criteria and then one for going over the applications themselves. So if you're interested, please, you can let me know today here, or you can shoot me an email.
You can put me down.
Me too.
Oh, right, count before, excellent.
Got the foursome.
I usually volunteer Jim Stewart too. He's not here.
He's being quiet.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, that makes my job very easy.
That took a long time.
Any other matters to come before the committee? If not, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Mr. Chair. I do want to introduce a new member of our team. I would like to introduce Shahadat Hossein. Shahadat is a transportation engineer who has a master's in regional and community planning with a focus on transportation planning from Kansas State University and a bachelor's in planning from Bangladesh. Before he joined us, he was with the town of Fairfield, and we're really excited to have him. And he will be splitting some of his time with MetroCog and then the rest of the time with us. So please welcome Shahadat.
Okay. Welcome, good to have you on board. Don't take offense. I didn't write the book.
Read that killed by a.
Thank you.
Oh, through the chair, couple of updates, the DOT is kickstarting their bus shelter program. I don't know where they started, but they're coming to Waterbury next month. They've identified 32 locations. We're gonna be reviewing them and proceeding with that program.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but before you move off that, I have a question for the city of Waterbury, gonna execute the agreement saying that you're responsible for them?
It's going before the Board of Aldermen Monday. I was gonna get to that. There is a maintenance agreement with some significant impediments that goes along with it. The city is responsible for our routine maintenance. Structural maintenance is the responsibility of the state. You have to clean the garbage, you have to get rid of the shopping carts, all that good stuff. You have to shovel it, routine maintenance, repair the panels. Their carrot is they do allow you to sell advertising for the maintenance purpose, but it's gotta be dedicated solely to the maintenance purpose. Being a state agreement, we found it rather onerous, and I don't know if the Board of Aldermen is gonna go along with it. There's too many variables, how much it's gonna cost and what the revenue is, so.
No grants associated with this, or
Pardon?
no grants associated with this, or?
No, they come in, they furnish and install it at no cost. After that, the maintenance is the responsibility of this valley only.
The carrot, yeah.
It's not a 10-year agreement, it's in perpetuity. Town is responsible for obtaining all easements and that sort of thing for, depending where it goes. Yes, so it's a good thing, but it comes along.
This has been a topic of discussion, in Bristol. We even wrote, email, to our Board of Public Works and I had a good conversation with a, DOT. I'll forward that to you if it has any value, to it. Now, my point was, once again, ideally, the property owner adjacent to the bus shelter would take, responsibility or some responsibility over it. And if I understood them, correctly, they were really like, they don't care who signs the agreement as long as someone pays, so, my avenue was to potentially try to, get the adjacent property owners, to sign the agreement, and I'm not naive enough to think that that would be successful, My concern would be that, I acknowledge that we can provide a level of maintenance, it's just that I don't have the resources every time someone throws a cigarette butt, to pick up, a cigarette butt, and that was my concern,
Yeah, no, it is a problem, but supposedly advertising revenue is supposed to cover the expenses. I don't know anything about advertising contracts, so. That's a big unknown and it's a significant problem. We anticipate being at the beck and call of everybody that sees a cigarette butt.
Yeah, that was my concern.
Whatever.
It's inconceivable to me that advertisement costs at a bus shelter will cover, maintenance costs. If you talk to them, I even understand that some, locations would have more advertisement, interest than others, but citywide, it's, once again, maybe it's just me. I'm not ignorant of the advertising, it was inconceivable to me that would cover maintenance costs.
Well, the way water is leaning right now is we have such a significant population using it, and you given the socioeconomic class of the typical users, not to be classist or whatever, but the public benefit we think is gonna outweigh the.
I just think that if we did it in Bristol, I would literally it would have to be someone's job. It couldn't be just a call. We would have to be proactive and assign a crew to look at it on a weekly basis.
Yeah, we're talking about assigning a parks crew with a dedicated truck to make a part of their route, similarly doing with the Greenway and so many other places. So yeah, there's significant others. The other thing I want to let everybody know, feds have changed some of their criteria. If you apply for grants, there's certain buzzwords you can't use anymore. As of yesterday, you could add road diet to that list. They don't want to do anything that will quote unquote reduce capacity of the road. So we're changing everything to say lane reconfiguration. That sort of thing. So if you're applying for these grants, just be very, very careful what buzzwords you use, what's in favor, what's not, because we're hearing it makes a significant difference. Not only getting the grant approved, but actually getting the funding, because they're talking about withholding some funding on a significant project because he included the word road diets, and they don't want to support that anymore. Less
Traffic calming,
Yeah.
traffic calming the same way.
We haven't been told don't use traffic calming yet, because we're tying that into pedestrian fatalities, which is a buzzword.
Right.
They don't want to reduce capacity, which bike lanes reduce capacity inherently, so it's a fine line you gotta walk, but just keep in mind when you put together an.
All diets, yeah.
Yeah. It's like anything else. Thank you.
Anything else to come before the committee? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Next meeting is April 1st.